So now at this point, I am ready to take this off. I'm beyond ready to remove this. So how do we do that? We're not just going to rip it off, even if I've been wearing it forever and it would come right off. I am going to take the remover that I have, which I have my spirit gum remover that goes with my spirit gum. Again, I don't want to use directly from the container. And I have a little disposable brush. I like to use brushes. I don't really like to use the Q-tips because I feel like the cotton gets stuck in the lace. So if you use this, you can kind of just like find an edge and then just sort of like hold this on it and let that dissolve the adhesive. And then you can kind of just like work under it. And again, just remember all this stuff is really strong, so try to like work efficiently. It may not be quick, but you can at least do it efficiently so that you're not just like underneath somebody's nose with these like really smelly like glues and solvents. As soon as they like that popped off pretty quickly. So the next thing I have to do is worry about cleaning this. I'm going to put this off to the side on a towel so I know that it is ready to clean. It's not always going to remove that easily, but it wasn't on for that long, so it was not that bad. So I'm going to keep coating my upper lip with this because this is something you really like. I do have really sensitive skin, so I don't want to leave this on my face for too long. And so once you get like most of it off, I really recommend going in with like a little like cotton swab and dipping that into the remover and using that. And I feel like a good way to know, obviously I would like totally wash your face at this point too, which I will be doing. Forget how strong this stuff is. And I think it's good sometimes too to do these things to yourself because you do forget. Like I was like, wow, I forgot really how uncomfortable that is and how strong this remover is to be putting underneath your nose. So I understand not always wanting to use the remover, but it's a good idea. And I feel like one way to know if you've removed everything, if you feel any like rough, like patchy places, that's probably still a little bit of spirit gum. So you do want to make sure that you really thoroughly remove everything. I think I'm pretty good for now. But definitely I'm gonna go and wash the rest of my face off after I finish this. So at this point, I'm not just going to like abandon my facial hair. Obviously, if you're the one wearing it, you are probably not the one cleaning it, but you might have a show where you are supposed to clean it. If you are going to clean it, you're going to need like some kind of like a little towel. I prefer 99% alcohol, but you can use acetone or like a lace cleaner. Toothbrushes work great, or like this is technically, I think, a brush to put on like cake mascara. Anything with like little scrubby bristles like this works really, really nicely. And then again, I use lots of little disposable things. I have little like metal cups and stuff, but for today we're just going to use a bunch of these little disposable cups. So this is just my 99% alcohol. And again, remember this stuff is all really, really strong, so you need to be working in a well-ventilated area, especially like I had a show once where I had to clean, like it took me like 2 hours to clean all the facial hair that I had for the show. And it will really make you feel dizzy after a while, so you need to make sure that you are working somewhere that is well ventilated, just because you're gonna like go crazy if you don't. So at this point, so I have it like hair side up on this, so I was taught to clean both sides of it. Recently when I was looking back into it, I see that like a lot of people only clean it with like the hair side up so that the lace doesn't get as gunky, but I think it's good to clean both sides. But if you're doing that, you have to make sure that you're making sure that the hair is clean. So this is going to be a little bit tricky to show, but basically anywhere like where there's lace or adhesive, you're just going to like press this into it and it's going to help like melt the glue out. So you don't want to like vigorously scrub it or anything, but we are going to like, there's like not a good way to do this, just kind of press this in there and make sure that it's dissolving all of the glue. You're usually, after you do this, you're going to have to restyle them. So facial hair, I feel like I often have to touch up a lot more frequently than if I'm just like touching up a wig or something, because like lace on a lace front wig isn't really going to disturb the rest of the style, but usually with this you end up taking out a lot of like the products, so, like mustache wax, hair gel, hairspray, whatever it is. This one might look a little bit alarming because I actually only tinted this with like aqua color, so it's like not that sealed in, so don't freak out if it's like a different color by the time I'm done cleaning it. But you pretty much just kind of go in there and you're like really lightly kind of like letting everything dissolve and sort of combing it back through. I think it's a good idea to always check both sides and make sure it's not on there. Spirit gum has a nasty habit of getting kind of like crusty and white. I doubt you'll be able to see it on here, but you can kind of see where it's like built up a little bit. Please don't leave it like that. Like always go back and clean it. It's always worth taking the extra time to clean it. just because you don't want to destroy these pieces. And like this lace is really nice and soft right now, but if I don't continue to clean it, it's gonna end up getting really like crusty, and sometimes like even soaking it in like a bowl of alcohol isn't enough to get it to kind of like decrust essentially, and it ends up just like not being usable. It already feels like weird enough to have this stuff on your face, so just imagine like if it's like totally hardened, trying to act with that, you're not gonna be able to do it. So always make sure that you clean it, and then once it's clean, I do just kind of like, I like, if it's really really wet and saturated, I'll like let it sit out on the towel still. Otherwise you'd want to pin it back to your block, and then it would be ready for you the next time you're going to do it, or you might need to restyle it depending on the shape of it, and then it would be ready for your next show. But yeah, that is a little bit about facial hair, and hopefully that clarifies some things.